I'm going to talk about The Outlaws. It's a BBC production.
Weird.
And
They don't look like it.
oh,
Are they Irish or something?
well, there. It's a show about a bunch of people who are doing community service. I'm going to get a wet bump sitting here.
Oh man. You know, this chair is awesome. It doesn't seem to have wet bump syndrome. I don't know. Or maybe it's the pants.
I don't. Maybe it's your pants. You wear splash pants. You just don't notice it. Anyway, so I'm also going to talk about Volume 3 of Easy Yoga for Everyone. Which
Volume 3.
I
She's survived 2 of them so far. Well, 3.
This has. Well, I was watching them. I'm not doing. Survival Guide for Pain-Free Living. Survival Guide for Pain-Free Living, Part 3 and 4, and The Secret to Strength and Balance. So maybe James will want The Secret to Strength and Balance. Maybe he'll want to look at that.
After what I've gone through the last month or so, I need something for my strength and a little bit for my balance too.
I don't know. I'm feeling not great, and I'm wondering if that migraine I got.
Yeah, it could be.
But anyway, I mean, I've been spending time with James, and I've been feeding him out here, and wearing the mask when I get him in the house and
Car.
in the car. But who knows, right? We'll see how things
Well,
go.
I think you'd know. I mean, you know, I got really slammed.
Yeah, you did. But
Different
last
people
year when I
react.
got really slammed, you didn't. So
Okay.
it's just people react differently.
True.
Sometimes one gets hit really hard, and the rest of the family don't get hit so much.
True.
Anyway, so this I did expect to like it, and I did. I mean, Christopher Walken.
You used to not like him, didn't
What? What are you talking about?
you? Didn't like? You used to like Christopher Walken. Who was the guy
Oh,
that?
I like Christopher Walken.
Oh, was that? Okay. Anyway, he's a dancer, right? And other things.
But anyway, so I saw the cover and I saw he was going to be in it, and I was like, it's going to be a good time. It's a series, so it's 2 discs, and it runs 360 minutes. And it's entertaining. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, well, I can't relate to any of these characters, and thank goodness. Like anybody who watches this show and goes, oh, I'm like that person. Oh boy. Because these are all people who are doing community service. They're criminals.
Uh-oh.
So you shouldn't be able to think, oh, that person's just like me. If you do, then maybe you need to evaluate yourself and what you're doing in this world. And
Oh, there's all sorts of people that think that way.
yeah.
So long as it's like people of color. These folks don't look so much like people of color.
They're all different. There's some. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But they talk about that in here. There's one woman who there's a few younger people, which you would expect doing community service. Honestly, people, when they're young, up till, between age 15 and 25, they're going to be really aggressive, and they want to be making their own rules and going on their own, and it's just nature. That's what nature dictates. You can't stay mommy's little baby forever. You gotta go make your way in the world. And but honestly, I think if you're at the age where you're getting community service, really you should have learned by now. Really, honestly. But I don't know. Maybe because I expect that from, teenagers to be acting silly or whatever. But
Yeah,
once
that's
you
why
get
we have an age of majority for
Yeah.
crime. When you hit 18, you should be responsible. Now, Pauline and I know that for boys it goes up to about age 25, but
Well, it's just people, you might not make really wise decisions, but certainly by the time, get to be 18 years old, you're realizing, that's not the life that I want. I don't want to be or whatever.
And when it comes to violence?
Like when you're younger, you think, oh, that's cool. Like I remember when I was younger, seeing people were telling me about watch that guy because he, when I was working or whatever, watch that guy because he likes to use his kids to distract, and then he's shoplifting or whatever. And I thought, oh, that's kind of funny or whatever, right? Like I didn't really think, oh, what a jerk, because that's awful.
Of course.
It is, But no, these people are awful. All of these characters are awful. And there's one woman in here who's, since James brought it up, she's all, well, I don't think they have, I think the poster said Blue Lives Matter or something, but anyway, she's talking about racism. And then there's this other older guy he has a business that his father has handed down to him, and he's not doing well with it. And he's worried about he talks about, at first you think he's really uppity, and he thinks that he's really powerful or whatever, because he's talking about, I have 52 people that work under me or whatever, that work for my company and this and that. But then you realize, he's worried about this business going under because he doesn't feel powerful. He doesn't feel like he has 52 people working for him, or it might have been 57 or something like that, but he's worried that he will have zero. And what is he going to do? What are they going to do, right? So, anyway. And you find out what all of them got there for, and they were all legitimate reasons. They all deserved to be there. They're all criminals. But I mean, of all of the people, honestly, I disliked the businessman guy the most. Although he played the character well, I disliked the character. But I thought, I don't know that he deserves to be there as much as what he did was maybe a little over the top or whatever. There were some people who had broken into his house, and he has 2 young daughters and a wife, and he managed to catch up with one of them in his yard, and he beat the crap out of him.
Oh.
And the one who
then he went to jail.
He caught was an African.
American?
British, no.
Oh,
it's
African,
British.
oh man, this just gets ridiculous.
So, well, I don't know.
No, it's not. It's
I don't,
it's got to be hyphenated and everything.
Well, I don't know what I'm trying to call. I'm
Yeah.
trying to be respectful. I don't know what to. Anyway.
I'm not
whatever.
criticizing you. You're trying, because people will witch hunt you.
Well, oh, you're eating that already. That one's sealed.
Okay.
You sure you want to eat that one?
Well, save it then.
Well, it's up to you. If you want it,
I'll
eat
eat
it.
it later on.
But you have the cake there too.
I know. I'm going to save
Oh,
that
you want
for
to
later.
save that.
Anyway.
Anyway, so that's because he beat up he's like, the only, he's talking to the woman who's really Blue Lives Matter or whatever, and he's like, the only reason that I beat up with him, there were 2 guys, one of them was white, and the only reason that guy got the beating was because he was slower,
Okay.
and so, but here he might end up, he's at risk of losing his business and stuff because the guy is pressing charges against him or whatever for beating him up.
Well,
and he broke into, and it's like, so he has all this stress that he's dealing with. And honestly, I don't know how, his wife was against him. His wife was like, maybe you could have done some things differently. And he was like, okay, so next time, just in case, I want to know what you think, I should do. If people break in here next time, maybe if they're raping and murdering our children, what should I do? You know, what would you like me? How would you like me to handle it? You know.
Well, people
But-
got to watch now. It's not just cops.
But yeah, it's and this whole like James has talked to me before. He's about drug use being a disease or whatever, and how people will talk about that. And I was thinking, well, I haven't really heard people talk about that, but yeah, they were in here. They were calling it a
Of
disease.
course.
And-
I hear it on the CBC all the time.
Okay, well, I try not to listen to CBC because honestly, it annoys me. But
At best, it's a waste of time and money.
yeah,
And not their money, ours.
yeah. And it's funny because I used to like it when I was younger. I don't know if it changed or if I changed.
A lot
I'm
of
not
it's
sure.
changed.
Okay.
Think of Peter Zalewski.
'Cause
Zalewski?
there used to be some good music on there and stuff like that. And I don't know. And I honestly, I like they used to have a native radio play that they do. I liked it. I don't know if I was the only one. Maybe I was. Maybe that's why they cut it off.
What's
Anyway.
happened is people are more interesting, but the wrong color are getting phased out. So Randy Bachman, oh, he's too white. So now I don't know what he's been replaced with. Peter Zalewski. You know, like when you got a name like that, Zalewski, it's not as though you're Miller or Brown or something like that. But he got replaced. I don't know. It's just been a massive.
But no, I mean
Replacement.
the businessman guy. He was the one who commented on the disease thing. He was like, "No, penis cancer. That's a disease." You know.
Exactly right.
It's like, yeah, drug addiction. That's not a disease.
No, it's not.
That's
It's an injury. It's
yeah.
a self-inflicted injury. And you're responsible for that infliction unless someone has actually tied you down and shot you up with stuff. The other thing is, if you got involved before you were 18, you're only partially responsible.
Yeah, if you if say your mother was a drug addict and had you, and then you have you're born a drug addicted baby, you're always going to have these problems to deal with. And so that's another matter too.
I remember talking a while back, third floor of a big house, one of the bigger old mansions in Lethbridge, just a block away from me where you. And it was a hot day. My friend was having trouble with his cat allergy. You know what it's like. His is worse than yours. Anyway, I was feeling really uncomfortable because there was this kid who went to school with my then best friend at LCI. And this kid was a real nice guy. Child of a professor, kind of a privileged background. And he was part of the kind of like the unofficial school band, rock and roll band at LCI. And somewhere along the line, I'm not going to mention what instrument he played, so this was into the 80s. He'd gotten involved in cocaine. And I can remember, it was about 1977 or 78, some kid at a soccer party came up to me. So he was significantly younger than me. Not really younger. He would have been about 18 at that point in time. And boy, did he know things. James, you should try sex on cocaine. You've never had such a blast.
When they're on it or something?
I have no idea.
Honestly, I have no
But
idea. Okay.
I'm going, thank you. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, but no thanks. If you gotta dress it up like that, you're one sad sack of an idiot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, honestly, I think it's, people should try sex without having their anatomy
Involved?
disfigured. No.
Oh.
I think the issue is they should stop circumcising
oh, that's
children,
horrible.
babies.
Yeah.
It's really obscene.
Yeah, disgusting.
So then the sex isn't
Of course,
as good for them.
what do you do about there's a couple of religions where you got to do it? Of course, one of those religions, about a
Well,
quarter of them actually
it's
believe
child
in.
abuse until,
Mhm.
if there's something medically, if they need to have it done because it's,
It should be a choice by an adult.
yeah.
But there's one religion that'll go unnamed, where one quarter of them actually believe and practice in doing it to women. And it's not just taking skin off in the case of women.
Well, the skin is important too for,
Of course,
it's bad. They shouldn't do it to little boys.
Mhm.
It's really
yeah,
awful.
it is a barbaric, ignorant practice. So, yeah,
If people were meant to not have it, then they would be born without it.
amen to that.
Yeah.
Hmm. Anyway, what were we talking about?
I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know.
So this kid buttonholed me. Real uncomfortable situation. My friend, best friend, was succumbing. I mean, really badly. We
Yeah.
should have got out of
Oh, I
there.
know. I watched a friend go.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he'd
You
been
know,
a cocaine addict back in the 80s,
no,
and then
no.
he went.
My friend
Oh.
was succumbing to a cat allergy.
Oh, not to
Badly.
temptation with the drugs. I misunderstood.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've
This is my
watched
best
people.
friend. This other guy was just someone who was a kind of like a friend. He went to high school with my friend. So I'm sitting there watching my friend going, I got to get him out of here. People die when they're having ones like this. I've never seen you, for example.
No, I saw one guy who had a cat allergy, and
Oh.
right away he walked in. Like I was over at a friend's place, and this guy walked in, and he was like, "I'll be okay." You could tell he was
Wow,
not
you know,
gonna
like,
be okay.
just
Like he
like-
was like melting.
Yeah, exactly right. It's like they're breaking down, like
He
crying.
was
and
just
all
such
this
a
stuff.
nice guy. He didn't want to.
Yeah, that's the same thing with my
Make a
friend. That's
fuss
why
or-
he's my friend.
Yeah.
So, and it's on a third floor. And these old houses, you've been in some of them, when it's a second floor, in the summertime, it's scorching. Well, third floor, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we're all up there suffering. My friend, I'm worried he's going to die. And then this one kid buttonholes me. Now he's old enough to know better by now. But he's telling me about how he got hooked on cocaine. And, like this kid would be 2 years younger than me. Like I could see what was happening. I could see what was happening, and I wasn't. The cocaine thing started hitting about 67, maybe. That'd be John Lennon, and then I don't know, maybe 70. It started making the rounds down lower levels. So some guy once he was being quoted in the rock press, 1970. That's when I saw managers pushing cocaine on their managees. I'm going, well, that was a little bit late because 69, like there was tons of cocaine.
But yeah, basically in this story, we're supposed to see that the young African British guy is the one that everyone wants to help save him in the group, and but because we're I think we're meant to see that because he's trying to help keep his sister out of the clutches of the drug lords of the neighborhood or whatever, but and his mother was a heroin addict and all this stuff, but
There are a million
he's trying to
stories in the
take care
naked
of
city.
his-
Why
his
should someone?
sister. But how you the only way you really lead people is by example. And if you're going out and robbing people at gunpoint and stuff like that, well, you're not setting a good example for your younger sister or whatever. And I mean, I was lucky. I had great parents. I remember there was a friend that I had when I had a lot of bad friends. But one friend, when I was
You,
just
hanging a
little,
big-
like 10 years old or something, I had a friend over, and I looked over, and her hand was in my mom's purse. on the table.
Fun times.
Yeah, my mom's purse. And that was the first time I'd seen anybody put like their hand in a mother's purse, and let alone somebody else's mother's purse. So I looked at her and she smiled at me, and I was like, you know,
Man.
no, you don't, right?
Oh.
And she took her hand back out, and I don't know if my mom had things go missing while that friend was over or what, but I was just horrified. I thought, here my mom is working minimum wage kind of jobs, trying to raise our whole family.
You know.
And this stupid puke comes over and has her hand in my mom's purse. Come on.
She
know?
would have known that you wouldn't have been dressing to the teased or anything like that. That
I had
money
one
would be
pair of
coming
jeans
out
that
of
I'd wear
Pauline's.
all the time because I wanted to fit in. Everyone else wore jeans.
Yeah.
So I was like washing my jeans and wearing them constantly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, but I noticed that. I noticed later on, there were a lot of kids that I was hanging out with, they'd steal cigarettes or steal money from their mother's purses. I never did. I never did that, and I never would have. And I think that's because my parents were such good people, they wouldn't have done that sort of thing. And that's how it ends up. You know, you have parents that are really good that way, and you end up that way too. But why bother with
that's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's not the way a person is raised externally. We were really poor.
Yeah.
Really poor. I had patches on the knees of my pants.
Oh yeah, and they have like this one drug lord in here. They're talking about. He kept saying, "I have 5 mouths to feed. If I, you know, if my mom's having to take care of my dad and this and that and whatever." And it's like, what? You know, that's no excuse. My mom took care of my dad while she was working at a till at the grocery store, and my sister and I were trying to help her and this and that, whatever. We were trying to get it done, and it was exhausting. And I was not very good help, I found out. And, you know, or here, like, I've had people say to me, like, family members, I don't know how you guys are living on, like, before, when I made more money, they were saying, I don't know how you're living on that little.
We lived for years on...
And now we're making so much less.
Roughly $18,000 a year, both of us.
Yeah.
18,000. And I can remember...
And
one of my siblings was saying, "That's harsh," and I'm going, "No, it isn't."
Crimes and stuff like that to try to, you know, it's ridiculous. So anyway, I did enjoy watching this. It was entertaining.
Oh, you have another 5 minutes if you want to.
Yeah. So
keep talking about it.
this person that was saying that's harsh, 18,000 for 2 people. With one granddaughter to take
Oh yeah,
care.
somebody said that to you.
Yeah. She was lying to me, saying that her wage was $65,000 a year. The trouble is, one of my other siblings is a teacher too, and so both of them are siblings. And she said, "Well, you know, like, it's probably." I think she was saying net $85,000 a year. She couldn't live on that. And, you know, like going to debt, all this sort of stuff. $85,000 a year. No. Did she have an addiction to gambling? That story's out there. I don't know. I don't really care. I've more or less put her up for adoption, or readoption, as it were. Anyway, she was raised right, and it didn't happen for her. But usually, when people are bad people, they've been raised poorly. Is that their fault? Maybe not. But believe me, it's not my fault. It's not Pauline's fault. It's not society's fault. It's the fault of the parents, and there's not, from what I can tell, much you can do about it except, hey, folks, there's a thing called responsibility. You can turn it around. If you don't, then you're going to pay.
Yeah, I honestly, I used to think, well, people would change if you gave them,
A chance.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you were good to them or whatever.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think once a person is already aggressive and they're, they haven't had that passive role model and care when they were very young. I think it's very young. And if they haven't had the care when they're very
It's
young,
it's like
they're
the first
going to
few
end
days.
up aggressive.
Yeah.
And the only thing that aggressive people respect is aggressive people.
Exactly right. So you
And
you
it's
can
not really
treat them with kid
respect, it's
gloves.
fear, I think, but
You can treat them with kid gloves, and they'll just interpret it as weakness.
exactly.
And it'd be nice if it was just, oh, that's weakness. But then they're going to take advantage.
Yeah.
So Punk Floyd. No, you got all sorts of people. Oh man,
Well,
he didn't put a gun on a pregnant woman's
no,
gut.
I know. But
He was
I don't
awful.
know if,
He should still be in jail.
yeah, but he shouldn't be dead, right?
No, I'm not saying
Yeah,
that.
it's just, but yeah, I'm
No,
bothered by the fact that people,
he killed himself.
well, I'm
Okay.
bothered by the fact that a lot of people say that he was an angel or whatever.
Oh,
The guy was not an angel.
yeah, angels don't go around participating in holdups where a pregnant woman is being threatened, uh, maybe not to her stomach,
Yeah.
with a gun.
But,
You know, this guy was ultimately served 5 years. I think the original sentence was something like 20 years. That's what he should have been sentenced to. The that him dying, that's all on him.
it's not
He's
all on him.
it is all on him. He was loaded to the gills with fentanyl, marijuana, one other drug I can't recall, and then he had some stuff when the cops opened up the door. And what did he do? He swallowed more fentanyl. He'd done it before, and he had to go to hospital. This time they asked him twice, "Are you on dope?" No, he doesn't say anything.